Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Joyage Podcast. I'm Cade. I will be your host and I'll be the little voice inside your head as you commute to and from work. I started this podcast, I called it Joyage because I wanted to be the combination of joy in your voyage. I want you to hop on your own voyage of life, pave your own path, man. I don't know anything about podcasting. I'm just going it. I'm Gary Vee style. I'm just Hail Mary, just going to try it out. We'll see how it goes. I want to be the podcast for you that you can listen to when you're commuting to and from work. That's when I listen to my podcast. It's like a lazy man's entertainment. I just can sit back and let other people do the work for me. But you know what? This is the day I want to be that guy putting in the work. I want you to relax, just sit back and listen to me talk. Or if you're watching me on YouTube, watch me talk and just try and get my first podcast underway, and not screw this whole thing up. But yeah, man, I hope I can make you laugh. Hopefully, I can make you think about the world in some ways, maybe new perspectives that you didn't think about before. There's some lighthearted content and some deep philosophical topics, man. I love getting into all of it. So without further ado, let's hit that intro. Okay, I want to go through just a quick rundown of my life, just so you know who's the guy talking in your head right now. I'm 22 years old. I graduated college last semester with a public health degree. I don't have any intention on becoming a 9 to 5 robot, and so that's why I'm doing all the things possible in social media. I'm trying to take advantage of the social media age before it gets too saturated. I feel like everyone's been saying that for years, but I'm hoping to just get on at the right time. I feel like there's never a right time. I feel like 3 years ago was too late, and 3 years later it's too late, and I'm just going to start now. I'm tired of waiting. I don't want anyone else to open the door for me. I'm just going to go for it. I grew up going to a private white kids school, like rich kids, first through ninth grade, and I finally convinced my dad to let me leave once high school came, and I transferred to public school. Had a great time there. Soccer was my entire life from literally like as long as I can remember, all the way throughout my first year at college. And man, my first year at college was rough, dude. I like instantly lost the passion once it became something that I didn't look forward to. It was like a switch, just like I did not enjoy it. And it switched me very quickly to the gym. And that's where I felt confident. When I was playing soccer, my coach was not great at instilling confidence. And it was a rough time, man. It was a rough time. I was the first sub off the bench for a while. And then I made one mistake in a game, never played again after that for like 8 games straight. I didn't see a single minute on the field. So that it killed my passion a little bit, and I was able to be somewhat of like the only fitness guru at USC Aiken, which was where I was attending, and so that kind of spiraled into an obsession with like fitness. And then when me and my girlfriend at the time broke up, I went through that whole like work on yourself and like fitness, and I got like in crazy shape, and so always had an obsessive personality. I can't hide from it. I may as well just tap into it, man, because I jump from one thing to the next. Once I conquer it, I move on. And this is more of a long-term solution to that, because this is an obsession that I can grow and I can scale this if I can get good enough. And so I'm starting now. This podcast isn't going to be fantastic, but it's something I'm building upon. Hopefully you will join the gang. You'll subscribe. Join the voyage, dude. It's going to get better. It's only going to go up from here. But yeah, I went from Ultraman to soccer to fitness to now content creation, and I love every second of it. And the reason I'm starting a podcast specifically, because I already have a YouTube channel, I have the TikTok, Instagram, but all the other social media is like, none of them are long form. I can't get my message the way I want out into the world. Like, I just can't. Like, the attention span that y'all have, and I have too, is that of a fly. It is just not long enough. I can't get what I want to say in a 5-minute YouTube video or a 10-minute or even a 20-minute YouTube video. I need some time to speak and elaborate on certain topics that I want to get off my chest. This is opportunity, this podcast, this platform for me to purge myself of all of the internal monologue and internal thoughts just swirling inside my head. And this is actually my second time recording this episode. I recorded the first one, had some horrible audio issues, and like a horrible humming that I was just like, dude, are you kidding me? I thought it was... Anyways, I think I fixed it. Hopefully I fixed it. And it was just rough, dude. Just talking is hard. It's way harder than I thought. I've been making YouTube videos for 6 months. This is different. This is totally different. I gotta stop thinking in the way of like, cut, next topic, like memorize the script, kind of like have like 3 topics I want to talk about, boom, 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 get out. this is more long form. I'm able to elaborate, and I need to like remember and like remind myself like I can actually tell this story, even though I think in my head YouTube version, which is I need to move on to the next thing after like 20 seconds because that's how long the attention span is. But I can talk, which is nice. So, anyways, something I really want to talk about. This is going to be like the core of my podcast. Just like the theme kind of is just reminding people that people who suffer from like imposter syndrome, people who suffer from like lack of self-confidence and worrying constantly that you're falling behind in life or you're not achieving the things you should be at your certain age. I'm speaking mainly to people like around my age, anywhere from like teenagers to like adults, like young adults. That's who I'm mainly talking about. But I'm talking to anyone. I don't care how old you are. But these are the people I can relate to the most because I just got out of that stage and I just finished the teen years. I'm like 22. So that's who I'm really talking to. And I feel like if you're in that age group, you're going to benefit the most from this. I think anyone can, but you are going to feel the most because I was just there. I'm still in there. So I want to talk about, imposter syndrome, feeling behind in life. What's our purpose? Combating regret later in life by doing things now and remembering long term over short term. So that's like the rough bullet point list I want to get through. So let's pick this apart. Imposter syndrome. God, this is so nice. This is so nice being able to just talk and not have to worry about cutting every 30 seconds. Oh my God, this is so nice. Long form content. This is great. This is fantastic. Imposter syndrome, something I suffered from my entire life. Literally my entire life. I remember rec soccer. Rec soccer, my dude. I'm talking like 6 years old, 7 years old. I remember like vivid thoughts of like doubt in my head. There'd be a guy who was 7 years old who was on my team that knew a little bit more about defense than I did, and I was always sitting there like, man, how does this kid know? Like, how does he just know to go in for the ball and just tackle the guy? Like, I always second guess it, so I'll almost go in for the tackle and I'll pull out and I'm not sure what to do. But some other people just go for it and they know what they want and they get it. I'm like, why do these people know? How did they know? Why am I the only one who doesn't? It feels like. It was only later in life that I found everyone's guessing. Everyone is guessing. Not everybody, but a lot of people just guess. They just go with it. And for some people, they realize sooner than others that you got to choose a path. Every time there's a decision being made, you choose a path. There may be one option, two options, 20 options, but you do have to choose one. And when you choose one, go forward. Don't kind of choose one and then retreat. So let me explain this in a analogy form. So say you're reading a book, and it's one of those like choose your own destiny books, right? So you get to the end of chapter 1, and it says, okay, you need to make a decision. Chapters 2, 3, 4, and 5 all lead to chapter 6, right? So you choose chapter 2, you read that chapter, you move straight to chapter 6. Same with chapter 3, 4, and 5, right? They all have different stories though. But once you pick one, you have to finish that chapter and move to chapter 6. You're not supposed to read the other chapters because that's a different path you took. So it's the same with life. When you get to chapter 1 and you get to that point in the road, the fork in the road where you got to decide, okay, am I going to do this or am I going to do that? Just pick one. Use your intelligence, use your experience, and say, okay, based on what I know so far, this seems to be the best option. So just roll with that. There's no point in pondering what the other option was. You'll never know, right? It just once you go with that, just forget about it. It doesn't matter. It's made up in your head. It's your thoughts, and that's such an issue. Like with imposter syndrome specifically, and feeling behind in life, it is your thoughts that betray you. And every time I say that, I think of Star Wars, but it's so true. I mean, when you sit with your thoughts too much, they become your worst enemy, man. They really become your worst enemy. And yeah, if I have any advice, this isn't really advice, more just like a level of awareness that I want you to take from this is that try and do at least as much as you think. And what I mean by that is you want all these things. And you see it all the time on TikToks, relatable TikTok kind of thing, where it's like, oh, I want my dream body. And then you go and eat McDonald's. What are you doing? If this is what you want, go and get it. Go and do it. Don't think about it. I've thought a million times about recording a podcast episode, but I came up with a million excuses. I didn't have a mic, didn't have a camera set up, didn't have a topic to talk about. Whatever it is, like, I don't care anymore. I'm just like, you know what? I can keep thinking about it, or I can just record a podcast. And if the first few are going to suck, I got to accept that. The first few, I'm not going to feel comfortable talking in depth about stuff because I've been used to short form content. But now I have an opportunity to grow and learn. I can learn about video production. I can learn about setting up an interview. I have 2 camera setups right now. I have an audio. I'm learning. I want to expand. I want to get better at all forms of content creation. So I'm trying things. That's what you need to do. That's my advice. If you are stuck, pick any option. If you're stuck, you don't know what to do in life, I say you look up a YouTube video, type in freaking self-care or something, like top 6 things, top 6 habits to learn. Pick one and just go with it. Just make that your priority. Make that your priority instead of sitting around trying to find a priority. Just pick one and go with that. And then after a few weeks of that, you'll probably spin off in this other direction. Or you find out you love, like, what if running was it, and 2 weeks in, you realize, wow, I love running. I love running. And in fact, I love sprinting. And so now you've found this new path and this new habit and this new routine you like. And then maybe through your running, you meet someone who becomes your best friend because now you're running buddies. And like just the spiral of things that can happen. It's called the domino effect, like the butterfly effect, domino effect, same thing. You do something and it causes another thing to happen. But the thing is, unless you do that first thing, nothing can happen. Right? If you're sitting in bed and all the things that in the day could happen, all those things can only happen if you get up. If you sit in bed, you cross out everything that could happen in your day other than you sitting in your room. And it's the same with life. If you never get up and do something, you always ponder that thought. You always ponder that you're going to never do anything about it. Empty thoughts. Doesn't matter. Actions speak way louder than words, especially in your own life. The people who are millionaires, the people who are gurus, they got to where they're at because they went and did that thing. Even if they're like rip-off kooks, they went and wrote that ebook. They went and learned marketing. They went and put together a video to steal your money. They went and did something. And now they're on this new path, whether or not it's good or bad. They went and did versus you sit and complain about it. I'm not saying you did, but that's just what I'm getting at, basically. And so people who are feeling behind in life, just remember that that's almost like a mindset that you can change like in like 1 second. If you can decide really, like the night before you go to sleep, maybe just write a note to yourself and say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do this. Like last night for me was I want to run at 8 in the morning. I want to start a new routine in the morning. I want to run. That's what I want to do. From now on, that's what I'm going to do. And that's just what I decided. And I have no reason to do it other than I want to. And that's okay. Humans are blessed with consciousness and awareness. We get to choose things to do to take up our time. We're aware, so we don't just exist. We exist and we want to thrive. And to anyone feeling behind in life, you can do that. You can just do things. And the more you do, the more your body is in motion, the more your actions are taking over rather than your words and your thoughts, stuff's going to start happening and you're going to start moving forward. You're going to feel that momentum. And one of the thoughts that always went around in my head was, what is our purpose? Like, what are we doing here? Why are we here? Why are we the only species that can think? Why do dogs just run around and eat shit on the ground and sleep? How are they okay with that? And it's because we have this level of awareness and consciousness that not a lot of other species have. And that's a blessing and a curse, right? Because now we're so good at surviving that we need ways to fill our time, basically. We don't have to worry about hunting a deer to eat dinner, right? We got Walmart right there. We could just get it. And so what do you do when you get off work? I guess I'll watch Netflix. I guess I'll go to the gym, whatever it is. It's so strange that we have all this pressure to figure out a purpose. And there was a super great TikTok video. Actually, I'll pull it up now. It's Neil deGrasse Tyson. Someone had asked him, what's the most astounding fact you know about the universe? And he said this. I thought this was super powerful.
Most astounding fact you can share with us about the universe? The most astounding fact. The most astounding fact is the knowledge that the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core. under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high mass ones among them, went unstable in their later years. They collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars. There's a level of connectivity. That's really what you want in life. You want to feel connected. You want to feel relevant. You want to feel like you're a participant in the goings-on of activities and events around you. That's precisely what we are, just by being alive.
Oh my God, I'm like get emotional seeing that. I wish I should just start my day watching that video. I mean, what a great sense of like appreciation you get from that level of awareness where, dude, we are inside of us, our DNA, our atoms are made up and comprised of the same particles that started the universe, like the beginning of time. And that's so true. Like, we are all part of this. You hear all the time, we're part of this big universe. We're part of the bigger picture, but the bigger picture, the big universe is inside of each of us, and it's inside of you. It's inside of me, and it's inside of you. That is super powerful to me because we really are powerful creatures. What we have, our conscience, our awareness, that is our gifts. And like, it is a miracle and a gift that we have this opportunity to experience life, to experience the human experience in life. I've heard a million times, the universe is experiencing itself from a human point of view, and that is what you're doing right now. That is the experience you are living. It is the universe experiencing itself from a human perspective. That is you. So when you hear things like, if that's true, what's the point of anything? And it's like, there is nothing. There's no point other than to experience. And when Neil deGrasse Tyson said, you being alive is enough. And you being alive is enough doesn't mean that, okay, fine, I don't need to do anything in life. You being alive is enough in the sense that you don't have to feel like you need to be anywhere. It doesn't, you existing, how do I say this? Why not experience? Why not risk? Why not go for your dreams? Because we have this gift and we take it for granted because we've been given it. And someone who is not in our shoes, someone who's less well off than you, would die to be in your position. They would die to be given the opportunities you've been given to make something out of themselves because they want to. Because humans create meaning out of whatever we want, I mean, it's like Monopoly. Like, we created games, and in those games, why do we get caught up about winning and losing if that game truly doesn't matter, which it doesn't? Because we decide, I want to win Monopoly, so we give it meaning right there. So why not have that attitude toward life? Why not accept that, yeah, living and being alive and existing, period, is enough for me. But why not ramp it up? Why not go for the stars? Like, why not try and experience and try new things and fall in love and whatever, like, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Like, if it's reading every day, like, why not do that? Why put yourself through this misery of nothing matters? Like, I'm not doing anything. Like, what a waste of time. What a waste of a gift that you've been given. Like, imagine if you were in a movie and you were the main character. And that's so hard to do. And that's why I love this YouTube platform. It's my YouTube. It is my podcast. It's my channel. I'm the main character. You come to watch me. That makes me feel powerful. And I want you to feel that through my videos. I want to try and empower you at least to do anything, whatever it is, just do it. Just go. And like, it's not going to be perfect. This podcast probably fucking sucks compared to the one I'm going to do in 3 months. 3 months worth of podcasts, I'm going to be 100 times better. And already when I'm like thinking about what I'm saying, I'm like, maybe I'll record this again and I'll post it again. I want it to be perfect. When in the reality, just get it done. Get it done, post it, learn, move on. When I post a YouTube video, I am very proud of that YouTube video. And when it gets 15 views, it hurts a little bit. But I take every video as an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to learn a new way of thinking, a new way of editing, a new way of storytelling. And I take it as a necessary step to where I want to get, which is I want to be financially free and I want to have a place where I have a voice, a real voice, where I can help try and influence people in a positive way to start their own YouTube channel or start their own business or move out of an abusive relationship or whatever it is. I want you to take that step, to take that leap, because it's not as scary as you think it is. It's not as scary as you make it out to be. It almost never is. It never amounts to what your thoughts are going to be. And I'm not sure if I said this in this recording or if I did it in my last recording of this audio set that like messed up. But when Obi-Wan says to Anakin, "Your thoughts betray you," it's so true. Like I remember seeing that in the movies and thinking it was like a Star Wars thing, but your thoughts do betray you. If you get caught up in your thoughts and just loops of scenarios that never happen and circumstances that are in a future that doesn't exist because you haven't made those steps, it's useless knowledge. It's useless thinking. Like it has no benefit. You learn more from doing in every single instance. Every single one. I learned so much about podcasting and talking and just podcasting in general through this tonight. Trying to figure out this freaking mic. Trying to figure out how to talk and be somewhat entertaining and remember that long form content is what I'm doing here and not trying to keep you hooked the whole time. It's a different kind of content, and I learned so much just doing one, recording one. I'm going to edit it later, than thinking about it for 2 years that I've been thinking about it. So my quote of the day, I want to do this every podcast, is, and I quote, I don't know if it's an actual quote or if I just heard it somewhere. Today, right now, is the tomorrow you were worried about yesterday. Let that sink in. If you didn't hear it, today, right now, is the tomorrow, is the future that you were worrying about yesterday. Right? So if you're here right now, you're listening to this, which you would have to be to have heard that, you made it. Congratulations. You're going to make it tomorrow too. A lot of people didn't. So take from that what you will, but not everyone's here to listen to this podcast right now, to be where you're at, whatever time you're watching this and whatever day you're watching this. You can make it. You can do this. It's like when you think about, I'm so scared about my future. I'm so scared to take that new job or move to that new city. Guess what? Every single thing in your whole life has led you to right this second, and you're here. You made it. You got through everything. You know you're present, because everything comes in moments, present moments. It all comes to you. And like we humans live on a linear timeline, so it happens to us in present moments, one at a time. Right? Your past happened to you in your present moment. And you know in your future, when some weird thing happens or you decide to pick up and leave, like you know because you've made it to this point that you will deal with it. I mean, just think about it. Think about if you wanted to move to Oregon. Think about if you genuinely went to Oregon. You picture yourself, you're in Oregon at the airport. Now, okay, what do I do next? I guess I call someone, figure out, or like go online, try and find an apartment. Okay, good. Get an apartment, start talking to people, try and figure out, try and connect, go on Tinder, try and find people. Like, if you were there, you would figure it out. You would have no choice, right? You just would do. And you just have to keep that in your head that you can worry all day long, but until you go and do that thing, that worrying is really a waste of time. And it's a waste of energy that you could be using on doing instead of thinking. So my message is do. Quit thinking about it. That's what I'm doing right now with this podcast. I'm going with it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know if this is any good or not. But I hope that baseline awareness can help you for people who are feeling left behind or they're not they're not doing enough, or like there's a ticking time bomb. Remember that you're enough, and you existing by itself is enough. But why not take another step and do things? Like, why not? You can. What else are you gonna do with the rest of your time? Just sit around and watch people do it? Like, don't you want to be that guy on video you saw? Like, don't you want to be living that life? You can. The only difference between you and them is they went and did. They picked up that camera. They filmed. They vlogged. Like, whatever it is. Like, if they're a professor, like, they studied. If they're a librarian, they studied and interned at a library. Like, whatever your goal is, like, go do it. Go do it. Quit looking at other people and wishing you were there. Like, that's what I did for so long. And when I realized, like, I can do that too. Like, all these famous people who are, like, online social media people, like, it's like the new thing. And I was like, what is the difference between me and them? And it's like nothing. They just picked up the camera and hit record that day and posted it. And you didn't. You didn't record it. You didn't post it. That's why. I know I can do it. And that's what I'm doing now. And I know you can do it. And you should just do it now. Just do it now. All right, we just got super deep, but we've only been talking like 20 minutes or something, I think. So I want to get into stuff that I just found out today. This is a little bit more lighthearted, not as deep and heavy, finally. So I saw this on TikTok today. Apparently, animals who hibernate don't sleep the whole time. Like, for 6 months, they're not just sleeping. They're just chilling. They're not asleep for 6 months, though. And when I pictured polar bears going to hibernation, I thought they slept for 6 months straight. And that's not exactly what happens. So that was interesting. I feel like I don't think everyone else knew that, but maybe they did. And that scares me a little bit. But whatever. All right, the second thing is that lucid dreaming. Some people lucid dream every single night. And some people can't help it. Some people only lucid dream. Imagine that, dude. Imagine only lucid dreaming. You never would get your checkout time until you died. And like, even when you die, maybe you don't check out. Who knows what happens when you die? If you lucid dream, there is never a like sleep mode. There's never a recharge mode. You're always going. I'm like, and my question is for those people who are lucid dreaming. When you're in the dream, are you expending like energy? Like, I feel like it would feel like I'm never sleeping. I would never regenerate, or like I would never recover from the day before if I always just went to bed and immediately lived this other alternate life in my lucid dream. God, that makes my brain hurt because I've always wanted to lucid dream, but when I found out that some people only lucid dream, that scares me. Or like the people who astral project all night, and I'm like, so when you wake up, do you feel like recovered? Do you feel rested? Like, what is it like a physical thing? Or is it like all mental? Is it spiritual? Is like the spiritual and mental not the same thing? Like, I would love to, if someone experiences lucid dreaming or experiences like only lucid dreams or astral projections where you don't actually just sleep, please let me know, because I'd love to talk about how that affects like your actual sleep cycles and like how you feel rested, and maybe if that helps you. Like, I've heard of people who lucid dream and they'll go and practice like job interviews or something, and they'll just go and do like 100 in their lucid dream, and then they'll kill it in real life. And I'm like, man, if I was lucid dreaming, I could just film like 1,000 podcasts in a row and then wake up and be a professional lucid, or I would be a professional podcaster. Like, would that work? Man, but yeah, that main thing, dude, like, I guess you just never would check out. I would love to know what happens there. But I'd love to know what kind of lucid dreams you would do. I've always said if I could lucid dream, flying. 100% flying is my first thing I'm going to do. I've done it a couple times where I'm like sort of lucid dreaming. Like, I'm like I'm like aware that I'm dreaming, but I'm not. And I can remember those dreams very vividly as if they're real. And sometimes I'm like, did I just fly? Like, what just happened? I've had a couple dreams, like probably 4 that I can vividly remember. One of them is when I was flying, and I remember actually I'm wearing a Kaleidoscope shirt, which is kind of funny. But one of the kids in my Kaleidoscope, it's like an after school program, like a daycare type thing, where I used to work in college. And he was in my dream, and he was like, I forget what, he was either like my child or like he was just there in the dream, but I was able to fly, and it wasn't like a crazy thing. I would just kind of fly in circles and like go up and then come back down. And I just remember like almost being aware that I knew like I was flying and I like didn't know how I was able to fly, but I didn't know that I was dreaming. But when I woke up, I remember being like, "Oh my god, I was dreaming. Like I knew it." And I tried to go back, and I kind of did, but as soon as I went back into the dream, I like forgot that I was dreaming again, and I just knew something was up, but I didn't know what was going on. So like, ah, I want to lucid dream so bad, but it requires a lot of daytime work. Apparently, like I heard you have to do like reality checks and like with a what's it called? A rubber band and like smack yourself like a few like 8 or 10 times a day and be like, hey, are you sleeping? And you do that enough like over time. That way, like in the dream, you start doing that. And like apparently in the dream, like it either like doesn't hurt or like there won't be a rubber band there, and you'll be like, oh my god, this is a dream. So yeah, I mean, I've had a couple times where I became aware and instantly woke up, which sucks. Like that was so frustrating. It's like impossible to get back into the dream, into a lucid dream, especially like once you wake up. It's like I swear to God, it's impossible. It sucks. And the worst is when you want to go back into that dream and you fall back asleep and you end up in another dream. You're like, what the fuck? You know, like you wake up and you're like, oh, I remember that dream. I wish I'd gone into that one. Like that was so much fun. But okay, my third one is that communication. This is something I learned like over time recently though. Communication is like the root of all solutions to issues, especially like in relationships or family. Communication can save like everything, bro. Any issue you're having, not any issue, most issues you have can be stopped with good communication. And better yet, proactive good communication, intentional, proactive communication. You telling your part, like maybe you just got a new girlfriend and you're like, I'll use myself for example. So if I'm in a relationship, my love languages are touch and showing like showing appreciation, just like verbalizing it, just saying like I appreciate you, or like cuddling me, like telling me, or like whatever. Like I just need that. It's not that I don't feel secure, but it's just nice, and I like need that with whoever I'm with because I want to be around them. I want to be like share a close emotional bond with them, and that's just how I do that. And so for in one of my last relationships, they didn't know that. I didn't really know it either, and like we never talked about it because neither of us knew. And so like she just never felt the need to like fill those things in for me that I needed in my relationship because that was my love language. My love language was touch. And so like hers was sort of touch, but it was more like she just would want to cuddle, but like I would sometimes want her to like come in and like give me a hug if I'm like working or something. And like she never thought to do that because she didn't know my love language was touch. And so like if that was something I told her, I'm sure she would have done it. And so like in the future, I feel like just tell them like, look, here are my love languages, dude. Like I hope you're a touchy person because like I need that. I mean, and if you're not, either like this isn't gonna work or like we need to come up with some type of compromise. Like, okay, well if your love language is just quality time or like gift giving, okay, like now we both know that, and now I know that like I won't always be touching you. Like I'm not always gonna have my arm around you, but I know that for you to feel love, like I need to have quality time. And so sometimes we'll just hang out and like I won't be touching you because I'll be trying to please your love language. And then sometimes you'll come over and you'll like sit in my lap because you know that touch is my love language. And like there's a balance you can get. But if neither of you know to start, you're gonna have issues, and they're gonna be those issues that you're like, why is this not obvious to my partner? And that's how I felt so much in my last relationship. And it was just bad communication. Like she wasn't not in a great place to be in a relationship. She just got out of a long relationship. I was ready to get in one. She was not. I kind of pushed it, and it was more convenient for her, I think, just to keep going and whatever. And so it didn't work, and it was mainly because of that. Like we both just were in different parts of our lives, and we just kind of refused to. We just kind of like didn't. We like denied it, like basically, like subconsciously we denied it. And I think in the future of relationships, for me at least, like that communication's got to be key. Like I saw some like relationship guru on TikTok was saying like every week or so, I think it was every week, her and her boyfriend would have a check-in and be like, hey, is there anything that at all that like let's talk about it, let's hash it out now. And because otherwise it's gonna sit in your thoughts and you're just gonna get mad about it. Like why not just bring it up to the person you're dating? It just makes sense. And I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. And so that's something I've implemented in like my family life a little bit. Is there are certain things that like I felt we didn't do a great job of growing up. Like maybe Like for example, my family, my parents didn't really like show love. I knew they loved me, but they didn't like ever like tell me or like make it a point to like make sure I like felt it. They just kind of like did things. Like it was more like guardian child versus like parent kid emotional bond. It was never like any of that. And so I told him like once I got to a certain age, like, look, I don't need you to be my guardian anymore. I'm like 20 something. Um, I don't need you to like telling me this and that or like how to like who to call here. Like I want you to just not be my friend, but like I want to like connect with you emotionally, and that has strengthened my family so much, and I am so happy I like brought that to our attention because we're able to talk about things now. Like it was always surface level, like how was school, like who's dating who. It's like when you go out to dinner and you see those families that just kind of like sit there and like none of them are talking because they don't have anything to talk about. And I was just always like, man, like I don't know, I like something needs to change. And so we had that conversation, and since then, like my dad got a new job. I mean, this isn't all because of this conversation, but like my dad got a new job. He was in the same job for like 30 years. My mom like quit smoking, and she like uh, is like walking 10,000 steps a day now, and like we're all like working on ourselves again. And for like a long time, my parents were in parent mode only, and they like kind of forgot like their own life. They had to put it on hold basically. And I told them, I was like, look, me and my sister are about to leave. You know, like you're good. You can transition. You can start the transition out of parenthood and back into the people you were before, and and like get back into those hobbies, get back into those passions of yours, and pick up those projects that you put down 20 years ago for us. And um, took him a little bit to accept that transition, but it's a fact. I mean, Hannah's about to graduate high school. I just graduated college. We realistically have at most a year. You know, depending on this quarantine, that's like the main thing messing us all up. But we got at most a year, probably a lot less before everyone's gone doing their own thing again. And I was like, let's start this new relationship, this new actually emotionally like fun relationship. Like I want to go on a trip with y'all and actually enjoy myself and actually be able to talk to you and actually open up a little bit and hear stories. Like now when my dad tells me a story about something he had growing up or whatever, it's not that weird. But a year ago, if he had just randomly told me a story from his childhood, I would have been like uncomfortable. Like, why are you telling me this? Like, what is this about? And since then, like we've like very slowly just kind of like picking at it, like having conversations here and there, hugs every now and then. Like it's becoming more normalized, and that's cool. And I love that because one of the big things I'm scared of that Gary Vee brought to my attention is regret sucks. Regret fucking sucks. And don't wait. Like do it now. Why not just do it now? Like there's not much of a difference. Like just do it now and fail and pick yourself up and do it again. You know, if I wait until my dad's 80 or on his deathbed, which a lot of people do, they'll wait till their parents are on their deathbed and be like, I forgive you, or whatever it is. And you get like one moment of content, satisfaction. Why not take that chance and apologize or bring it up or whatever that thing is that's looming over you? Say it now. Say it today. Say it tomorrow. Say it tonight. Don't wait. Just do it now. Start that repairing process. Start that new path, and you can do it. It's not going to just change overnight. It just won't. But at least bring up the conversation because that will lead to step 2, which leads to step 3, 4, 5, 6. Steps 4 through 6 couldn't happen if you hadn't brought it up in the first place, right? So my message to you is start. Step 1. Just one step at a time, dude. It's going to take forever probably. But it'll never happen if you don't take step 1. It will never happen if you don't take step 1. So take that step. That's kind of what I wanted to leave you with today. That's all I got. So if you're still listening to this, thank you so much for listening. Subscribe, man. Hit that subscribe button. YouTube's like my number one priority right now, and I'm posting multiple times a week, and I don't plan on stopping at all. I'm obsessed. I love it. So kill it at work. If you're listening to this on the way to work or coming back from work, way to go. Put in that, get the bag. If you're just chilling at home, then enjoy your time. If you're hustling, if you're in your side hustle, whatever you're doing, man, just remember, give yourself some internal peace. Lay off the pressure a little bit and just enjoy your day. And remember, this life is a gift. Take some time for yourself, enjoy it, and give yourself that internal peace, because you do deserve it just by being alive. And keep going. If you're still kicking, if you're having troubles with your mental illness, like, keep going, dude. I struggle with mental illness and horrible anxiety my whole life, and I made it to here. So I know I have that confidence. I can get to there. I can make it to tomorrow. And it's one step at a time. It's one day at a time. If you're struggling with anything, get to tomorrow. And then tomorrow you work, get to the next day. And it's day by day. You got to keep working. I know you can do it. Hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Peace.